The air was heavy with smoke, dust, and the smell of rusted iron. Strange lights flickered above the broken stalls, where alien merchants shouted in voices that were harsh and cruel. Chains rattled, cages slammed shut, and the sound of crying. Humans echoed through the night. This was not a market of food or gold. This was a market of flesh. Humans were no longer free people. They were items. They were stock. They were meat in the center of the square. A girl sat in a cage made of black steel. Her hair, long and tangled, fell across her pale face. Her eyes were bright, almost too bright for this dying world. She did not cry. She did not scream. She whispered to herself in a voice that was low and broken. Sold for meat. Human. Hold me. Use me. Just get me out of here. The merchants laughed as they walked past her cage. Some pointed with long, claw-like fingers. Some shook their heads. She was too thin, too small. They thought she would not bring much value, but others leaned closer, staring at her eyes, whispering that she was strange. Different, dangerous maybe. No one wanted to risk too much on her, not yet, above the cages. A metal sign swung back and forth in the wind. Its words were painted in the sun. Its words were painted in the alien tongue, but someone had scratched English letters over it long ago. The sign read, "Unclaimed. Final offer." It meant death for many, because final offer was the last chance. If no one bought a human, the body would be used for food. The girl pulled her knees close to her chest and pressed her hand against the cold steel bars. She whispered again, softer now, almost like a prayer. Hold me. Use me. Just get me out of here. Her lips trembled, but her eyes did not show fear. Her eyes showed something else, something waiting. From the shadows at the edge of the market, a tall figure moved. He wore a mask made of dull metal with glowing blue lights for eyes. To the aliens, he looked like one of them. But his movements were different to smooth. Too careful, he walked past stalls of alien meat, past weapons, past cages filled with broken men and women, and then he stopped. He stopped in front of her. The girl lifted her head, her eyes locking onto his mask. For a moment, the world seemed to grow silent. The shouting faded. The laughter dimmed. Only the wind carried the creak of the old sign above. She whispered again, this time louder. Just get me out of here. The masked figure tilted his head. The merchants circled, watching closely. One of them, with a long snout and yellow teeth, barked a laugh. This one is weak. No meat, no strength. No fight, waste of coin. But the masked figure said nothing. He only raised one hand, showing the mark of a buyer. The crowd of aliens hissed and grumbled. The yellow-toothed merchant sneered but unlocked the cage. Chains fell away, and the girl stumbled forward into the dirt. Her body shook, but she stood. Tall, her eyes never leaving the mask. The masked figure placed a hand on her shoulder, guiding her away from the market. No words were spoken, not yet, behind them. The merchants laughed again. They believed she was worthless. They believed the buyer was a fool, but the girl's heart pounded in her chest. Because for the first time in years, she was walking out of a cage, and deep inside, she felt the whisper of something greater, something the aliens could never understand. The night closed around them as they left the square. The cages rattled, the cries of other humans rose into the air, but the girl did not look back. Her bare feet touched the cold ground. Step by step, and with every step, the words repeated in her mind, not as fear, but as fire. Sold for meat. Human. Hold me. Use me. Just get me out of here. In the distance, towers of alien metal burned against the sky. Searchlights swept across the ruins, and high above, the shadow of a warship moved slowly. The girl knew she was not safe yet, but she also knew something had changed. She was no longer just a prisoner. The market of shadows had given her away too cheaply, and soon the aliens would regret it. The girl followed the masked figure through the broken streets. Her bare feet touched cold stone and scattered glass. Above, towers of alien steel cut the sky like blades. The night air was thick with smoke, carrying the distant hum of war machines. Every corner felt dangerous, every shadow alive with eyes. The figure never spoke, only moved with silent purpose, his long coat brushed against the ground, his masked head scanning the rooftops. The girl wanted to ask, wanted to scream, but her voice felt trapped. She whispered instead, just as she had in the cage, sold for meat. Human. Hold me. Use me. Just get me out of here. The figure stopped, turning his head. Those glowing blue lights in the mask stared at her. For a moment, she thought she had angered him. But then, the voice came deep, steady, human. You are safe now, he said. But only if you keep walking. Her heart froze. That voice was not alien, not cold, not strange. It was human, alive, real. Tears stung her eyes, but she did not cry. She followed, her steps faster now, her hope burning inside. The streets twisted into ruins of old Earth. Cars rusted into skeletons, buildings cracked open like broken bones. Alien banners hung from the walls, marked with symbols of conquest, but under one banner. Half hidden in shadow was a human mark, a small scratch in the shape of a star carved into stone. The girl's eyes widened. She touched it. Resistance? She whispered. The figure nodded once, then kept moving. Behind them, the market came alive with noise. The merchants had noticed something was wrong. Shouts echoed, the sound of chains rattling. Alien hounds barked, their claws scraping the ground. The girl's chest tightened, fear rising. They are coming, she said. The figure turned his head slightly. Then we run, he answered. They slipped into a narrow alley. Shadows swallowed them whole. The girl's breath came fast, her body weak from hunger. But she forced her legs to move, step after step. Her mind replayed his voice human. She repeated in her head, he is human. At the end of the alley, a light flickered. A doorway half covered by metal sheets. The figure pushed it open, guiding her inside. The room smelled of oil, dust, and fire. The walls were lined with broken machines, wires, and stolen alien tech. It was a hiding place, a nest of survivors. For the first time, he removed the mask. The girl gasped softly. He was older, his face scarred, his eyes tired but alive. Dark hair streaked with ash, lips pressed into a hard line. I am Marcus, he said. You? Her voice shook, but she found her words. Lena. He nodded, as if her name meant more than she knew. You must understand, Lena, he said. They think you are weak, but you are not. You were chosen by them for a reason, and that reason is the danger you carry inside. Her heart raced, her hands trembling. What do you mean? She asked. Marcus leaned closer, his voice low. They changed you, Lena. They took your blood, your mind, your body, and they gave you something they did not understand. She blinked, confused. I am just a girl, she said. Marcus shook his head. No, you are the reason I risked everything to pull you out of that cage. Before she could answer, the ground shook. A low rumble rolled through the walls. Lights flickered. Dust fell from the ceiling. Marcus grabbed her arm, pulling her to the far corner. Through a crack in the wall, she saw the street outside. Alien hounds with glowing eyes searched the ruins. Their masters followed. Tall and armored, the hunt had begun. Lena pressed a hand to her chest, whispering again, hold me, use me. Just get me out of here. Her voice was not broken now. It was sharp, alive. Marcus looked at her with narrowed eyes. You don't even realize it, do you? Realize what? When you whisper, they hear you. She froze. What do you mean? Marcus pointed at the hounds outside. They had stopped moving, their heads tilted as if listening. Her whispers had reached them, not through sound, but through something else, something inside her. Fear twisted in her stomach. But Marcus's face was set like steel. "This is why they kept you alive," he said. "This is why they whispered about you being different. You are not only human anymore, Lena. You are their mistake." Her breath came heavy. She wanted to deny it, wanted to run, but deep inside, she knew he was right. Ever since the experiments, she had felt it. The strange fire in her veins, the visions in her dreams. And now, the hounds obeyed her whispers. She was not just prey anymore. Marcus pressed the mask back onto his face. "We move," he said, his voice sharp. "They will come faster now. And they will not stop until you are in pieces." Lena nodded, her fear slowly turning to something else. Not hope, not yet, but a spark, a fire, the whisper of power. They stepped back into the night, the streets alive with hunters, lights, and shadows. And in the silence of her heart, Lena whispered once more, not as a plea, not as a prayer, but as a promise. "Get me out of here, and I will burn them all." The ruins stretched like a graveyard of steel. Shadows moved between broken towers, and the air tasted of smoke and iron. Lena followed Marcus, her steps weak but steady behind them. The market was alive with shouts and sirens. The aliens had realized what was taken, and they would not stop. Marcus moved like a ghost, silent and sharp. Every few steps, he looked over his shoulder, scanning the darkness. He carried no torch, no light, only trust in the shadows. His mask gave him away as one of them, but not for long. If the aliens looked too close, they would see through his disguise. Lena pressed her hand against the wall of a ruined building. The cold stone bit into her skin, but she kept moving. Her whispers still echoed in her head. She thought of the hounds, the way they had stopped, and listened. It frightened her, but it also made her wonder, what am I? "Keep quiet," Marcus said, without turning. His voice was calm, but there was steel inside it. "They will follow the scent, and we are not far enough yet." She nodded, though he could not see. Her breath came out in small clouds of white. The night was colder now, cruel and sharp. They turned into a collapsed subway tunnel. The ceiling dripped with black water, the air heavy with rot. Old signs in English hung broken on the walls. "Exit. Downtown." Words from a world long gone. Lena's chest tightened as she thought of Earth before the invasion. A world of light, of laughter, of warmth. But that world was only dust now. Inside the tunnel, Marcus finally stopped. He turned, pulling off his mask. His face was tired, worn, but his eyes burned bright. "You need to understand something," he said. "They will not stop hunting you." "Lena," she swallowed, fear crawling up her throat, "because of what I am." Marcus nodded slowly. "Yes, and because of what you might become?" Before she could answer, the ground above shook a deep thundering sound, heavy footsteps. Dust rained from the ceiling, and the sound of claws echoed through the tunnel. "They've sent hunters," Marcus said, his jaw tight. "Aliens." Lena whispered. "No," he said. "Something worse." The shadows at the tunnel mouth twisted. Shapes crawled out, hunched and fast. They were not tall, armored aliens, not merchants, not soldiers. They were beasts, grown from human flesh and alien science. Bodies broken and rebuilt, skin stretched tight over glowing veins. Their eyes burned like fire, and their jaws opened too wide. Lena gasped, her heart slamming inside her chest. "What are they?" Marcus's voice was like a blade. "Failed humans," the creatures hissed, their claws scraping the stone. They moved like wolves, but twisted, wrong. Lena's legs shook. She stumbled back. Marcus raised a stolen alien rifle. "Aiming steady, stay behind me," he said. The first creature leaped, a blur of teeth and claws. The rifle thundered, the blast shaking the tunnel. The creature fell, smoking, twitching. But more came. 5, 10. Crawling from the dark, Lena pressed her hands over her ears. The whispers escaped her lips without control. Stop, 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 she breathed. Her voice trembled, but something in the air shifted. The creatures froze for a heartbeat, their heads tilted, eyes flickering. Marcus glanced at her sharply. "You're doing it again." "I can't," she gasped. "It just happens." The beasts twitched, then roared, fighting her command. Marcus fired again, his shots precise. But they were too many. The tunnel shook with their screams, their claws tearing stone. Lena felt heat in her chest, spreading through her veins. Her eyes burned, her whispers grew louder. "Stop, kneel, stay." And then, impossibly, some obeyed. 3 of the creatures dropped to their knees, their claws clattering against the floor. Others stumbled, confused, their bodies trembling. Marcus's eyes widened. "You're controlling them." "I don't want to," Lena cried, her voice breaking. "But you are," Marcus said, firing again. "And that means you are even more dangerous than they thought." The fight raged on, light flashing, stone cracking. When the last beast fell, silence filled the tunnel. The floor was littered with twisted bodies, steaming in the dark. Lena's chest heaved, her hands shaking, her eyes glowed faintly in the shadows. Marcus lowered his weapon, staring at her. "You're not just human anymore," he said. "You're a weapon," she stumbled back, pressing against the wall. "I don't want this," she whispered. Her voice echoed strangely, like 2 voices at once. Marcus took a slow step toward her. "It doesn't matter what you want, Lena," he said, his tone heavy. "What matters is that you survive, and if you can control them, then maybe humanity has a chance." Her throat tightened, her whispers returning like a curse. "Hold me. Use me. Just get me out of here." But this time, the words were not only hers. The echoes came from the walls. The corpses, the shadows, the failed humans twitched as if still listening. Even in death, Lena covered her mouth, tears burning her eyes. "Am I even human anymore?" she asked, her voice breaking. Marcus looked at her for a long moment. Then he said, "You're human enough to save us, and too dangerous to let them win." The tunnel grew quiet again, but the silence was heavy. Lena knew the aliens would keep coming, stronger and faster. But for the first time, she also knew something else. She was not just prey, not just meat. She was a whisper they could not control. And one day, they would fear her voice. The tunnel smelled of smoke and blood. The corpses of failed humans twitched in the shadows, steam rising from their broken bodies. Lena stood shaking, her eyes glowing faintly, her whispers still echoing in her head. Marcus wiped sweat from his face, his rifle low but ready. Neither of them spoke for a long moment, the silence heavy with fear and questions. Finally, Marcus broke it. "They will know now," he said, his voice low. "They will feel what you did. They will come in greater numbers." Lena pressed her hands against her chest, her breath sharp and shallow. "I didn't mean to. I can't control it," she whispered. Marcus's gaze was steady, almost cold. "Then you must learn." The ground above rumbled again, the tunnel walls groaning as dust fell from the ceiling. The sound of alien engines roared in the distance, searchlights sweeping the ruins outside. Marcus pulled his mask back on, his glowing blue eyes returning. He grabbed Lena's wrist, firm but not cruel. "We can't stay here. If they trap us underground, we die here." She nodded weakly, her legs heavy, her stomach empty. But something inside her burned, pushing her forward. They moved deeper into the tunnel, the air colder, wetter. Their footsteps echoed like distant drums. Old train cars lay rusted on the tracks. Their windows shattered. Graffiti from humans long dead painted the walls freedom. Fight back. We are still here. Lena brushed her fingers over the words, her throat tight. Did they fight? She asked softly. Marcus's voice was grim. They fought, and they died. But some of us still carry the fire ahead. A ladder rose toward a broken manhole. Marcus climbed first. Scanning the street above before pulling Lena up after him, the city stretched before them like a dead beast. Skyscrapers broken in half, streets filled with alien machines. The sky glowed faintly red from the light of warships above, and in the distance. Smoke rose from the heart of what had once been human civilization. Marcus pointed to the west. Safe zone is 2 miles that way, through the ruins, he said. Safe zone? Lena asked, her voice small. Marcus nodded. Humans who survived, who fight in secret. If we can reach them, you'll be protected. Lena swallowed, her eyes scanning the burning skyline. Protected or used? Marcus didn't answer. He only started walking. They moved quickly through the rubble, keeping low every few minutes. Alien drones passed overhead, their red lights sweeping the ground. Lena held her breath each time. Her whispers locked inside her chest. She feared that even breathing might betray them, but the drones moved on, blind to the humans in the shadows. When they reached an old highway bridge, they stopped. The road was cracked, half collapsed into the river below. On the other side, alien patrols moved in the ruins of cars. Their weapons glowing, Marcus crouched, pulling Lena down beside him. We wait for the gap, he said. But Lena's heart raced, her whispers tugging at her lips. She could feel the aliens like shadows in her mind. Their hunger, their cruelty, their voices sharp and cruel, and somehow, she knew they could feel her too. Her body trembled. Marcus, she whispered. They know I'm here. His head snapped toward her, his eyes narrowing. What do you mean? They can hear me, she said, clutching her chest. They don't hear words, they hear me, my blood. My voice inside them. Before Marcus could respond, one of the aliens turned suddenly. Its glowing eyes locked on their hiding place. It hissed, pointing. Shouting in its guttural tongue, the patrol moved, weapons raised. Marcus cursed under his breath. Run. They bolted across the bridge, gunfire lighting the night. Bolts of energy shattered concrete at their feet, cars exploding around them. Lena stumbled, but Marcus dragged her forward. Her whispers spilled out again, wild and uncontrolled. Stop. 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 For a moment, the aliens faltered, their shots freezing mid-battle. Their eyes flickered, their bodies twitching. Then rage filled their voices, louder than before. Marcus pulled her behind a burned-out truck, his rifle snapping in short bursts. 2 aliens fell, their armor smoking, but more came. Climbing over the wreckage like spiders, Lena pressed her back to the truck, tears running down her cheeks. I can't stop them, she cried. Marcus's voice was sharp, urgent. Don't stop them. Control them. I don't know how. Then learn now, or we die here. The words cut through her fear like fire. Her breath came fast, her chest burning. She closed her eyes, whispering again. But not with fear this time. Her voice was steady, sharp, commanding. Kneel, she whispered. Her eyes burned brighter, glowing in the dark. Kneel. And the aliens froze. Their weapons lowering, one by one, their bodies dropped to their knees. Their heads bowing, the battlefield grew silent, except for the crackling fires. Marcus stared at her, his rifle lowering slowly. You're doing it, he said. All in his voice. Lena opened her eyes, tears still on her cheeks. She looked at the kneeling aliens, their glowing eyes fixed on her like worshippers. Her voice shook as she whispered again. Run away. And they obeyed. the patrol scattered into the ruins. Fleeing into the shadows, Marcus let out a sharp breath, pulling her to her feet. "You just saved both of us," he said. But Lena's face was pale, her hands trembling, her voice was quiet, broken. "No. I just proved I'm not human anymore." Marcus grabbed her shoulders, forcing her to look at him. "You are human, Lena. More human than any of them. They fear you, and that means you're ours." Her lips trembled, her whispers almost lost in the night. "Then why do I feel like I'm becoming one of them?" The fires burned around them. The city alive with sirens and searchlights, and in the distance, more warships moved across the sky. Lena's whispers echoed inside her skull, a voice both hers and not hers, a voice that would not let her go. "Hold me. Use me. Just get me out of here." The city groaned under the weight of alien machines. Warships drifted above the ruins, their shadows cutting across the broken streets. Searchlights swept through collapsed towers, hunting for prey. In the middle of this dying world, Lena and Marcus moved through the dark, their bodies weary, but their eyes fixed on survival. The memory of the bridge haunted Lena. The aliens kneeling before her, obeying her whispers. Her voice carrying power she never understood. She felt the echo still burning in her chest. A voice that was hers, and yet not hers. It frightened her more than the aliens ever could. Marcus walked beside her, silent, but his eyes never stopped studying her. He had seen the patrol obey her. He had seen them scatter like frightened animals. And now he knew, with certainty, that Lena was not just a survivor, she was a weapon. They reached a collapsed library. The doors were broken, the roof half gone, but inside? Old books still rotted on the shelves. The air smelled of mildew, ink, and dust. Marcus guided her inside, pulling a heavy door closed behind them. It creaked, but held, drowning out the night. Sounds of the hunt. Lena sank onto the floor, her legs trembling. Her whispers slipped from her lips like a broken song. "Hold me. Use me. Just get me out of here." Marcus crouched in front of her, his voice steady. "Do you know why they kept you alive, Lena?" She shook her head weakly. They said I was weak." Marcus's jaw tightened. "They lied. You are not weak. You are dangerous. More dangerous than you know." Her eyes widened, her heart pounding. "I don't want to be dangerous," she whispered. Marcus leaned closer, his voice sharp. "It doesn't matter what you want. It matters what you are." He pulled a small device from his coat, a stolen alien scanner. Wires sparking along its edges, he pressed it against her wrist, and the screen lit up with glowing symbols. Her blood pulsed through the display. Strange and luminous. Marcus's eyes narrowed as he read. "They changed you," he said. "They put something inside you." "Something alive," Lena gasped, pulling her hand back. "What do you mean alive?" Marcus's voice was grim. "You are carrying their experiment, their attempt to create control over us, but it failed. Instead of making you theirs, it made you something else, a bridge between us and them, a weapon they cannot hold." Lena's body shook, tears burning her eyes. "I don't want this," she cried, her whispers cracked, spilling into the air. The books on the shelves rattled, their pages tearing loose. The dust swirled as if her words carried weight. Marcus grabbed her shoulders, forcing her to breathe. "Listen to me, Lena. You may not want it, but this is the truth. Your blood is fire. Your voice is chains. You can command them." She shook her head violently. No, I'm just a girl. I'm no one." Marcus's voice turned like iron. "You are not no one. You are the weapon they fear." Silence pressed against them, heavy and suffocating. Lena hugged herself, whispering broken words into her skin, but deep inside, she felt it, the pulse of something unnatural. It was not only fear, It was power. A storm waiting inside her chest. The floor trembled suddenly, dust falling from the ceiling. Marcus turned sharply, his rifle raised, through a broken window. Lena saw them. More aliens. Tall and armored, weapons glowing in the night. Their hounds prowled ahead, teeth flashing. "They found us," Marcus said, his voice cold. He pulled her toward the back of the library. "There's a tunnel under here. We go now." But before they reached it, the wall exploded inward. Flames and stone crashed around them. 3 armored aliens stepped through. Their eyes glowing, their weapons aimed. Lena stumbled back, her hands shaking. Her whispers slipped out again, desperate, terrified. "Stop." For a heartbeat, the aliens froze. Their eyes flickered. Their claws twitching, Marcus fired, the blast ripping through the first one. The others roared, breaking free of her command. Bolts of energy burned across the floor. Marcus dragged her. Behind an overturned table, "Do it again." He shouted over the noise. "Command them." Lena pressed her hands to her ears. "I can't," she cried. "You can." Marcus barked, "You already did on the bridge. You did it with the beasts. Do it now." Her chest burned, her breath sharp. She closed her eyes, forcing the whispers. To focus, her voice was steady this time, sharp as a blade. "Kneel," she said. The air vibrated with her words. The aliens twitched, their bodies jerking. One dropped to his knees, armor clattering. The other staggered. His weapon falling from his hand, Marcus seized the chance. Firing clean shots, both fell in silence. Smoke curling from their armor. The library grew still again, flames crackling. In the corner, Lena opened her eyes, her body trembling. Her voice broke. "I killed them." Marcus's hand gripped her shoulder firmly. "No. You saved us." But Lena's face was pale, her whispers spilling once more. "Hold me. Use me. Just get me out of here." Only this time, the words felt heavier. Not just whispers, but a promise carried into the air. Marcus's expression hardened. "They will keep coming, Lena. And when they do, your voice will be the only weapon." Left between us and extinction, Lena's heart pounded, her body weak. But in the smoke and fire of the ruined library, she finally understood the truth. She was no longer just a prisoner. She was no longer just a girl. She was the secret they tried to bury, the weapon they feared, and the voice that could change everything. The library still smoldered, its walls cracked and burning. The air was heavy with smoke, the stench of alien blood mixed with ash. Lena sat against the wall, her arms wrapped tight around herself. Her whispers trembled in her throat, circling. Again and again, "Hold me. Use me. Just get me out of here." Marcus moved quickly, scavenging weapons from the fallen aliens. His movements were sharp, practiced. He did not waste time with words, but when he looked at Lena, his eyes held something. He rarely showed worry. "You can't stay in the open," he said finally. "They'll burn this sector down to find you. We move now." Lena forced herself to her feet, her body weak, her eyes burned faintly in the smoke. She followed him, step after step, into the night. The ruins stretched ahead, broken towers and twisted steel, but in the distance, faint lights glowed. Not alien red, but human fire. Marcus pointed there. Safe zone. Hope stirred in Lena's chest, fragile but alive, human survivors like Marcus living. Hiding, resisting. Her whispers slowed, her breath steadier. Maybe here she would not be alone. They reached the safe zone before dawn. It was hidden in the ruins of an old subway station. Steel doors blocked the entrance, marked with human symbols scratched into the metal. Marcus gave a signal. 3 knocks, then 2 more. The doors opened with a groan, and for the first time, Lena saw them humans. Armed, scarred, alive. Voices rose in shock when they saw her. A girl with glowing eyes, her skin pale, her whispers trembling. Some stepped back, fear in their faces. Others whispered to each other. Marcus raised a hand. His voice sharp. She's with me. She's not one of them. She's ours. The crowd slowly parted, but their eyes never left her. A woman with a scar across her face stepped forward. Her name was Captain Rhea. Leader of this group, her eyes were sharp, her voice firm. She doesn't look safe, Rhea said. Marcus's jaw tightened. She's more than safe. She's our chance. The words spread through the room like fire. Some humans whispered in awe. Others in fear. Lena hugged herself, her voice breaking softly. I don't want to be a chance. I just want to be free, but no one listened. The crowd saw her as Marcus did. Not a girl, not a prisoner, but a weapon. They gave her food, water, a blanket. But their eyes never softened. Every glance was a mix of fear and greed. As if she were gold wrapped in human skin. Lena felt their stares like knives. Her whispers grew louder in her chest. Hold me, use me, just get me out of here. That night, as the fires burned low, Marcus spoke quietly to Rhea in the corner. Lena tried not to listen, but their voices carried. She can control them, Marcus said. I've seen it. The aliens fear her. Rhea's voice was colder. Or they will come for her, and she will lead them straight to us. Marcus's silence was heavy. Lena's heart cracked. She curled into the blanket, her whispers spilling into the dark. But betrayal does not always come from leaders. Sometimes it comes from the desperate among the humans. There was one named Darren, a thin man with hollow eyes and trembling hands. He had lost his family to hunger. His faith in resistance had burned away long ago, and when he saw Lena, he did not see hope. He saw a bargaining chip. That night, Darren slipped away. Through hidden tunnels, carrying a beacon stolen from storage, he pressed it into the ground. Outside the station, the beacon lit faintly, pulsing into the sky, a signal only the aliens could see. Darren whispered to himself, "Forgive me. But food, safety. I can't starve here." By morning, the trap was already closing. Lena woke to the sound of engines, the walls trembling, the ground shaking. Marcus stormed into the room, his mask back on. "They've found us," he growled. Panic filled the station. Humans grabbing weapons, shouting orders. Rhea's voice cut through the chaos. "Defend the tunnels. Don't let them in." Lena's body froze, her whispers rising. "How did they find us?" she asked, but Marcus's eyes were already burning with anger. He had seen the beacon outside. He had seen Darren's trembling face, and in that moment, he knew it was betrayal. The walls cracked, flames bursting through. Aliens stormed the tunnels, armored and endless. The humans fought back. The air filled with screams and fire. Marcus grabbed Lena's arm, pulling her away. "You can't be here. They want you, not them." Lena shook her head violently. "No, I won't run, while they die for me." Her whispers filled the air, sharp and commanding. "Stop," she cried, her voice shaking the ground. Some aliens froze mid-step, their weapons dropping. But others fought against her, their rage too strong. The battle burned around her. Humans falling, screams echoing. Rhea's voice roared, "Hold the line." Lena's heart shattered, her whispers cut through the chaos. "Kneel? Kneel." Dozens of aliens stumbled, collapsing to the ground. For a moment, the humans pushed forward, fighting with fire in their eyes. But Lena's body weakened, her strength burning away. Her knees hit the floor, her whispers breaking. Marcus caught her before she fell. "Don't stop, Lena. You're the only thing keeping us alive." Her vision blurred, her voice barely a breath. "I can't. Not forever." Marcus's voice was iron. "Then do it long enough to save them." The safe zone shook. Fire raining from above, betrayal had opened the door, but Lena's voice Was the shield holding it shut and in the heart of the battle? Her whispers grew into something greater than fear, a command that even death seemed to obey. The safe zone burned, smoke rolled through the broken tunnels, and fire painted the walls red. The screams of humans and the roars of aliens clashed together. It was chaos, death pressing on every side. Lena's body trembled, her whispers breaking. Her lips, her strength was fading, her chest tight, but still she spoke. Still her voice cut through the air. Kneel, stop, obey. And for every alien that broke under her command, 3 more stormed forward. Marcus fired until his rifle smoked. His mask cracked, his arm bleeding, but his eyes stayed locked on Lena. She was the center, the fire in the storm, the one thing holding back the endless flood. Stay with me, he shouted. Lena's knees shook, her whispers raw and broken. I can't. It's too much. Marcus dropped beside her, his hand gripping her shoulder. Yes, you can. They fear you. And fear means you're winning. The ground shook as a war machine tore into the station. A towering alien beast of steel and flesh, its claws crushed stone. Its voice roared like thunder. The humans around it scattered. Screams rising. Lena looked up, her heart freezing. How could she stop something so huge? The beast's glowing eyes fixed on her. It raised its claws to strike. But Marcus shoved her aside, the blow slamming into him instead. He flew across the floor, blood splattering the walls. Marcus, Lena screamed. Her whispers broke in two. A cry of pain. The beast roared again, stepping closer. Something inside Lena snapped. Her fear turned into fire, her voice into steel. She stood, her eyes burning brighter than ever before. Her words tore through the air. Stop. The sound shook the walls. The beast froze mid-step, its claws trembling. Its glowing eyes flickered, its massive body shaking. Every alien in the room staggered, their voices silenced, their weapons falling. Humans stared in shock as the invaders bowed unwillingly. Even the war machine bent, its claws sinking into the ground. Lena's voice carried like thunder. You think we are meat. You think we are weak. We are not your cattle. We are not your slaves. We are humanity, and we are not finished. The humans rose with a roar. Their weapons blazed, their voices united. The aliens stumbled, unable to resist her command. And for the first time in years, the battlefield belonged to humans. Lena's power burned her veins like fire. Her body shook, blood dripping from her nose. But she did not stop. She whispered again and again. Her words chaining the invaders, breaking their will. Every command she spoke, they obeyed. Marcus crawled to her side, blood on his lips, but his eyes still burned with pride. You're leading them, he whispered. Not me. Not Rhea. You. Lena's tears cut through the ash on her face. I'm not a leader, she whispered. Marcus smiled weakly. You already are. The humans pushed the aliens back. The tunnels filled with the roar of victory for every life lost. 10 more stood up with fire in their hearts. Rhea's voice thundered above the chaos. Fight. They bleed like we do. Fight. The war machine trembled under Lena's command, its claws scraping the floor as if begging for release. Her whispers shook the steel inside it. Fall, she commanded, and it collapsed, crashing into the ground. With a scream of metal, the battlefield fell silent. The surviving aliens fled into the night, their screams echoing in the ruins. The humans stood in the smoke, panting, trembling, alive. For the first time, they had one. Not because of numbers, not because of weapons, but because of her. Lena sank to her knees, her strength gone, her whispers fading into silence. Marcus caught her before she collapsed fully. You did it, he said, his voice hoarse. She shook her head weakly. No. We did it, Outside, the sky burned with warships. Thousands of alien vessels moved above Earth. The war was far from over, but tonight, a spark had been lit. Rhea raised her weapon high, her voice ringing through the survivors. This is not the end. This is the beginning. They thought we would kneel, but tonight, we made them kneel. The humans roared, their voices shaking the ruins, and Lena, weak and trembling, felt the fire inside her grow stronger. Her whispers no longer sounded like fear, they sounded like a promise. We are not finished, she breathed. They will learn to fear the human voice. The night closed around them, but in the dark, hope burned brighter than fire. Humanity had risen from the shadows, and, with Lena's voice leading them, the war for Earth had only just begun.